Senator Udall.
Thank you very much, Chairman Barrasso and Vice Chair Tester, for focusing on this very, very important issue to the West and to the rest of the nation. In the West, our rivers are our lifeline. This is especially true for the Navajo Nation, which depends on limited surface water resources. The San Juan River is crucial. It brings water for drinking, irrigation, and recreation, and has the cultural and religious significance, has great cultural and religious significance to the Navajo people. So the federal government must own up to this tragedy, and I'm encouraged that we have the administrator with us, and she has taken responsibility for this accident. Those on the Navajo Nation and others affected by this spill must be compensated, and I will be introducing legislation on that front with Senator Heinrich. The Navajo Nation has been on the receiving end of disasters like this, brought on by the federal government and others for far too long. Mistakes have been made. We need to do everything in our power to make sure they are not made again. I recently visited the area to speak with President Begay, who we will hear from on the second panel, the newly inaugurated President of the Navajo Nation, Speaker Lorenzo Bates, Attorney General Branch, and Gilbert Harrison, and others like Mr. Chiliazzi of Shiprock, who I see here today. I heard their concerns, I saw the terrible impact the spill was having, and I saw firsthand that farming for Navajo people is not only critically important to food production, it also impacts the traditional teachings of young people who are finding their identity through agriculture. It's easy for Washington to expect things to return to normal in due time, but it is clear this disaster will continue to affect the Navajo people for a very long time. How did this happen, and how did we get to this point? Sad to say, the Gold King abandoned mine is only one of several abandoned mines which are leaching pollutants into the Animas River. And there are thousands, some estimates on a nationwide basis from 160,000 to 500,000 of these abandoned mines, which are hurting and threatening waterways throughout the Rocky Mountain Range and the rest of the country. When we talk about public lands in the West, this is the legacy of the 1872 mining law, an ancient law which encouraged exploration for hard rock minerals, but did nothing to compensate the public for the extraction of valuable minerals. And on top of that, did nothing to require mines to clean up after they finished. And that's the legacy of what we're seeing here today. The result, thousands of abandoned mines on public land, contaminated land, polluted streams, and the taxpayers having to pay for the cleanup. I believe in the principle of polluter pays. Other more recent laws have enshrined this principle, polluter pays. But we are stuck with the 1872 mining law, which requires none of this. And that is what these big mining companies are doing, refusing reform, refusing to pay. Some of the people that have looked at this area say the 1872 mining law and its supervision of mining is some of the laxest public oversight of any industry. We cannot continue that way, and I would just hearken back. I remember it was before I got into the House. Some of the senators on this panel were probably there in the House or in the Senate, but Newt Gingrich saw the ripping off of the taxpayers and passed a bipartisan bill through the House of Representatives reforming the 1872 mining law, and it had a 300-vote margin. So this can be done if we put our heads together and work with each other, and I'm very encouraged that we have a bipartisan effort here on the committee, and look forward to working with our Colorado senators who were impacted, and then the flow came into New Mexico. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, again for focusing on this.